Every single thing in our life can be tracked back to a sign or some sort of nod in hindsight. So when we look back in hindsight, we could say, oh, wow, this happened. And that was a sign that I was supposed to be continually moving forward, or I was supposed to stop, or I was supposed to go this way. And I've lived like this. We had a situation in our Chicago location where when we had the opportunity to be able to buy the building across the street. We were in negotiations for it. And right at the last moment on the way to the bank to put the earnest money down, the people called me or I actually called them just to check and make sure before my money went in that everything was okay. And they denied us at that time. And we were going to buy the building right across the street. And I went home and I told my wife it was a sign that we weren't supposed to have it. And I've lived a lot of my life like this, but I've found myself at times getting a little frustrated. And especially when we're frustrated, we're looking for a sign. The other day, I was so frustrated. I was just like, God, will you don't even have to give me a sign. Just give me a nod. And we think about the times, right? Some people say it right now with the times that are going on in the different political states and all those things that are happening. They're like, this is a sign of, the end times, or this is a sign that this is happening. And when I asked God for this sign, or maybe even a nod, it was almost as if he just laughed and said, haven't you checked my history? Haven't you checked my character? Haven't you checked all the things that have come to this point? And if you did, you wouldn't be asking for a sign or for a nod, because there would be so many things that would be overwhelming proof for you to just sit in and allow things to be the way that they are right now, and that everything is going to work out the way that it's supposed to. So as I as I walked through my morning, I guess we'll call it ritual of sitting down and reading wisdom and writing out and taking this time, I realized that it wasn't the sign or the nod that I needed in my life, that it was simply to study the principle-based wisdom. So why don't we get this party started?
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never know, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
Even my friends who don't look for signs still have the tendency to look for signs. Even my friends who say that, there is nothing out there and, everything's up to them, and they don't have any belief outside of what their life experience is. They still will tell me at times, this happened or that happened, and it was a sign to do this thing. And so I want to encourage you, if you're looking for a sign, and a lot of us are, whether it be personally, professionally, spiritually, or financially, we're constantly looking for these signs. We're looking for, sometimes, like I said, just like a little bit of a nod. And I want to give you this is, Proverbs 20 or Proverbs 12. It reminds us that God's love is so abundant that he is into the details. When we are tuned into his station of wisdom, the signs and nods will become blatantly obvious. And this was a tough thing. I heard a story as a young kid in the professional beauty industry. When I started off, my boss, Robert Crummies, he told me all the time, he said, if you just broke up with someone, you're going to hear love songs all the time. When you just buy a new red car, you're going to see a bunch of new red cars on the road. When you buy a truck, you're going to see a lot of trucks. You're going to focus into the things like once you become aware of something and you start to focus on it, you'll start to see more of that thing. And so I had a friend come to the door today, and he was asking me about, different times politically and things like that. And that's a thing that a lot of people stay away from, or some people gravitate towards. And he had asked me about it, and I said, I don't really watch the news, and I stay connected with some things, and want to stay aware, and don't want to be blind to the facts and the realities. But I like happy stuff. I love happy stuff. I love things that bring me joy in my life. And I find that when I focus on those, there's never been a time that the economy has stopped me from doing good. The economy doing well has never made me do well. It was what I was focused on at those times. And so I just want to encourage every single one of you. Um, you know, when we're going through something, that's generally what we're focusing on. When we're focusing on that thing, then you'll find more of that thing. And so, what I would do is I would stop for a second, and then I would ask yourself, like, what is it that you want more of in your life? Do you want more love in your life? Do you want more wisdom in your life? Do you want more, chaos in your life? Well, focus on whatever it is that you want. I would not suggest chaos, because those are things that I went through as a kid. Growing up with two parents who I absolutely loved, um, and were absolute wise people, and they helped me and filled me up with love. But it wasn't like it was a perfect existence. There were challenges, and it even flowed into my relationships. It flowed into my relationship with my now wife. Like, when we first got together, we were, connected, having fun, all these things. And then I called my brother and I said, "Hey man, this thing ain't gonna work out." And he said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, we got some challenges." He said, "What's the challenges?" I said, "She don't fight." And he said, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, when I want to fight, or I get heated or whatever, she always tells me she didn't think about it. She never thought about it that way." And then I get mad, and I put my dukes up and I'm ready to fight. And he's like, "My brother just said something to me that changed my reality." He said, "Kel, it's okay to be okay." And see, for all of my life, I had grown up in a place where my parents would fight and then they'd get back together. I was around a lot of chaos growing up. So I thought that that was normal, and I thought that that was love. And my brother was like, "No, it's okay to be okay. Like, it's okay to be peaceful. It's okay to be joyful. It's okay to enjoy your life and not be, live with, the anxiety of, the ball dropping, or that other shoe dropping." And that's what happened. That's what we grew up in our whole entire lives. When we would get ready to, settle in, um, my dad would either lose a job or just say, "Hey, we're moving," and we had just moved to a new place, and we were unsettled and scared. And I didn't realize that until I was older. But my brother said that to me, and it just made so much sense. Because at the time I was looking for signs, I was looking for nods. And again, for me, I'm very similar even today. So I just want to encourage you right now, if you're looking for signs, like, is it a sign to do this or to do that? Um, Take a second, take a breath, and take that time in the morning, maybe 15 minutes. You could do it with the new vibe, um, the vibe within, which is Inchstones. So it takes you through the corresponding proverb, corresponding day. Proverbs 1 on the first of the month. And I didn't do this from a religious standpoint. I did this, I think, because there was so much chaos. I wanted to be able to have a little bit of peace. I wanted to be able to see, like, let me not study the circumstances, but let me study the principles. And then that way, when the circumstance happens, then I can go back to that principle. And I found myself doing that the other day. I had a gift that I wanted to get for a very good friend of mine. And then prudence came to mind, thought of the future. And I thought, should I make this decision right now? Let me take thought of the future. What is it that I want to do? What was some of the goals that I had? And then I thought, you know what? I don't have to buy that gift right now. And so that was the practical application of it. But if we're constantly looking for signs or nods, we're going to see the signs or nods that are based off the decisions that we've already made and what it is that we want. Because we could justify, I tell you, I have been able to justify in most areas of my life. And most likely you have too. "Oh, this relationship is not the greatest thing in the world. And then and you know that it's not, but you don't talk to the friends who are going to talk some sense into you. You talk to the friends who are going to be able to encourage you to do what you already set out, not what you already decided to do. Be conscious of that. So, there was a couple of points in this proverb today in Proverbs 12 that was massive for me. I got a chance to be able to share it with my buddy John. My buddy John Elston is a gangster. I absolutely love him. And so the first point was invite discipline. Don't be stupid. This is probably one of my favorites because it doesn't pull any punches at all. No punches pulled. Just invite discipline. Like, don't wait for discipline to happen to you. Just invite it into your life, and just don't be stupid. And what is stupid? Not inviting, not inviting discipline into your life. Seek good things, think about good things, say good things, do good things. This will create a firm foundation. I mean, think of that what we just talked about. If we seek good things, replace good things with joy. Replace that with financial freedom. Take that out and say that I just want peace. Seek peace, think about peace, say peace, do peaceful things, and this will create a firm foundation of peace, right? You can add whatever it is word, but it's the principle based. If you seek it, you think about it, you talk about it, and you do it, then it'll create a firm foundation in whatever it is that you're seeking, you're thinking, you're saying, and you're doing. And this is why principle based for me is so, so, so important, because it gets you through all the circumstances. A good wife is a gift from heaven. I mean, I tell you, this is probably one of the greatest because, with my wife, I'm very, very fortunate, and I'm very, very blessed to be able to have my wife in my life. And I almost denied it because I grew up in a non-peaceful home. So in not growing up in a peaceful home, I grew up in a non-peaceful home. So because of that, I sought out things that I thought were normal. And so I want to ask you, what is your normal? And why is it normal? Track that back, sit in it for a second, take 15 minutes a day and just spend a little bit of quiet time and ask yourself the normal things in your life, why are they normal? And what you'll find is 95% of that time is going to be because of circumstances, not going to be, this is what was supposed to happen. It was circumstantial. But if we are constantly searching for circumstantial, we'll be looking for signs and looking for nods as opposed to looking for principle-based truth in our life. And so think right, speak right, do right. This is so simple, right? But imagine if we think about it, we speak about it, and we do it. And imagine when we just align those things. We think about it, we speak about it, we do it. Like, let's go backwards. Whatever you're doing, you talked about first, and whatever you talked about first, you thought about. So if we understand that pattern, we can actually change the pattern by just switching the things that we think about, and then that will switch what we speak about, and that will switch what we do. And some of this stuff is so simple that I think about as back to being 10 years old or 13 years old and thinking like, why didn't I just pick up on it then? Because I wouldn't have listened to it anyway. So if you are 13 and you listen to the podcast, though, listen to it and apply it. I tell you, it'll take and fast forward things for you. Stop, breathe, and think about the future. No need to fake the funk. Faking the funk is one of those things. I learned it in Vegas because people would a lot of times buy a Bentley but live in an apartment. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were faking the funk. They were, and you see this a lot. I just had a young lady reach out to me, and she asked me about an opportunity that she had, and my wife had seen it as a scam. That some scam stuff had been happening, and so my wife kind of called it out. But she asked her questions like, "Is this happening? Is this happening? Is this happening?" Okay, cool. I've heard of this, and then she exposed it to her, but it wasn't like she was saying, "You're wrong, you're awful." My wife just asked her questions. But in asking yourself questions, right? Ask yourself, is what I'm projecting out, is it the real thing? And when it's the real thing, I tell you, you can't stop it from succeeding. But when it's the wrong thing and you're faking the funk, it's challenging. Kindness wins. I learned this from all my buddies. And what is kindness? It's the being of contribution. To be nice is self-serving. To be nice is just a thought process of like I have to do this. It's out of obligation. But kindness is out of contribution. Work your land, abundance in your gifts. Like there is abundance in the gifts that you already have. And so the first thing that I would do is I'd identify those gifts. What are the things that you could do that you don't really have to work that hard at that naturally come to you, right? Those are your gifts. And imagine we just go give those away to as many people as we possibly can, then we'll figure out what our purpose is. And with that purpose, we'll get rewarded. And when that reward happens, we got to be in a place where we can accept it. I wasn't willing to accept peace because I grew up in a non-peaceful home. So I thought that wasn't okay until my brother said it's okay to be okay. But work your land. What are you gifted at? Go give it away and you'll find what your true north and true purpose is. Doing right is sustainable. That's a pretty simple one. Good thoughts, good words, great deeds, right? And it re-emphasizes it over and over and over again. You see, justification is enticing, but the thought of the future is a firm foundation. So there's a way for you to justify and for me to justify anything that I want to do. Oh, well, I want to do this thing. Oh, here's a sign. Here's a nod. This is what I'm supposed to do. But is it rooted and grounded in what you're supposed to be doing and what was built for you and what your land is, what your gifts are? Well, if we haven't taken enough time to be able to identify our gifts, that's where the challenge is going to be. Right work is undefeated. That's a pretty simple one. Speaking life changes things. When you speak life into people, use their name, tell them something that inspired you. And then it's amazing because just the other day, I got a chance to be able to interview Monique Payton and GP2's mom. And see, years ago, I did her hair at the Mandalay Bay. I formed friends with her. And most of the time, I'm sure that people would GP2 was very young at this time. This was in the early, it was like 1999. So he was pretty young. But her, Monique's husband is Gary Payton from the Supersonics. And I think a lot of times people only, they would kind of almost fame chase a little bit, but I knew Monique as Monique. I didn't know all the rest of the family. And she's just an awesome person. And so I was going to have her on the podcast, and she was like, I'm a little bit nervous to come on the show. And I spoke life to her, and I just said, you're going to be amazing. It's so incredible. She's a mother of three and, just a person who really believes in giving back to the community, giving back and doing a lot of charity work and making sure that her kids have the highest character possible. That's probably one of the greatest superheroes of all time. But I wanted to speak that life to her to calm her down and to help her to understand like how awesome she is. And the podcasts are not amazing. Make friends and be an even better one, right? Make a ton of friends. And when I say that, like make great friends and be an even better one. One of the best friends in the world is Will Simmons. He is an incredible human being. And every single day when I reach out to him, he is always there and around. My brother, Rob, my brother, Dave. I mean, amazing friends. I want to be a better friend because of it. Doing right will always heighten your senses. And so as we finish up today, so as opposed to focusing on all the signs and nods, try focusing and listening and applying wisdom that is provided to you, and you will be overwhelmed by the blessings that come. So how's that for a sign or a nod? All the nods and the signs that we look for, literally, you can find them. But here, when we focus, like when we truly focus, and then we listen, and then we apply the wisdom that is already there, that is given to us. That's the reason why, for me, Proverbs has been so valuable not just from a spiritual sense, but from a business sense, from a family sense, from a relational sense. So I hope you have a phenomenal day. It's Proverbs 12. It's been Inchstones, and check out the workbook. It's a little link in the bio. You can check out the book, The Vibe, also. We've got that. And, it's an absolute honor to be able to spend time with you guys. And I hope you had a phenomenal day. 15 minutes today, 15 minutes, take 15 minutes, just get quiet. And if the first thing that you're doing, if you haven't identified your gifts, then go identify your gifts right now and take 15 minutes, just get quiet and just write out what your gifts are, the things that you can do, that it doesn't take as much effort and that you can naturally do, and then go give that to the world, and you'll find that your purpose will start to show itself. So hopefully you have a phenomenal day. I love you a bunch. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised.